We've all been there. You craft that message to your crush, a careful balance of casual and interested, and you hit send. Then, the wait begins. The phone becomes the center of your universe. You stare at it, willing it to light up, checking and rechecking the connection, refreshing the chat window as if you can force an update through sheer desperation. You analyze her online status. She was just online. She must have seen it, and you read your own message over and over, dissecting every word, wondering if a different emoji or a wittier turn of phrase would have made the difference. This internal debate is a special kind of torture. You cycle through excuses for her. Maybe she's busy. Maybe she's driving. Maybe she's just thinking of the perfect reply. Minutes stretch into hours that feel like days, and you're locked in a silent, anxious vigil. Your entire mood hinging on a notification that refuses to arrive in this agonizing silence. It's crucial to understand one fundamental truth. Her lack of response is not a void waiting to be filled. It is a message in itself. It is an answer. In the modern world, phones are practically attached to us. People see messages. Choosing not to reply, especially over an extended period, is a conscious or subconscious decision. It communicates a lack of urgency, a lack of interest, or at the very least, lack of the same priority you are placing on the connection. The single biggest mistake you can make in this vulnerable state is to misinterpret this silence. It's a problem you can solve by talking more. Filling that quiet with another hey or a, did you get my text? Or a funny meme you just had to share is like shouting into a canyon just to hear your own echo. It doesn't reach her. It only highlights your own loneliness in the space between you. Think of it like this. Imagine you're browsing in a store, just looking around. A salesperson immediately pounces, asking if you need help. You say, no thanks, just looking. But they don't leave. They hover. They follow up a few minutes later to point out a sale item. Then again to assure you they're there if you need anything. It's no longer helpful. It's annoying, suffocating even. It doesn't make you want to buy. It makes you want to leave the store entirely. When you double text or triple text after being met with silence, you are that salesperson. You come across as desperate and insecure, and you apply a social pressure that makes the other person want to disengage completely. By choosing to stop, you do the counterintuitive but powerful thing. You respect the signal she is sending. You accept the answer she has already given you, and in doing so, you flip the script. You transform from an anxious pursuer into a man of substance who has other places to be and other things to do. This silence, when chosen by you, becomes your secret weapon. It creates intrigue and curiosity. It makes you unforgettable for the right reasons. Instead of being remembered as the guy who simply couldn't take a hint, the dynamic you create when you are always the one to initiate contact is a subtle but powerful form of training. You become a constant, a predictable element in her life that requires no effort on her part to maintain. Your texts are like the background hum of an appliance, noticeable only when they suddenly stop. This constant availability, while well-intentioned, devalues your presence. It communicates that your time and attention are hers to claim without reciprocity. Without her having to invest any of her own social or emotional energy into the connection, you effectively train her to be a passive participant in your relationship, conditioning her to receive your interest rather than feel compelled to generate her own. This isn't a conscious manipulation on her part. It's a natural human response to a dynamic where one person carries the entire weight of interaction. This is why the act of stopping the conscious decision to cease all initiation is so psychologically potent. It isn't a game you're playing. It's a correction of a broken dynamic. It is the ultimate demonstration of self-respect. By stepping back, you create a vacuum, a sudden and unexpected silence where your presence used to be. Humans are wired to notice patterns and, more importantly, breaks in those patterns. The absence of a familiar sound is often more jarring than the sound itself. When your good morning text doesn't arrive, or the weekly how was your day query fails to pop up, that absence becomes a tangible thing. It creates space for her to actually wonder, to experience a flicker of curiosity. Why hasn't he texted? Is he busy? Is he upset? Did I do something wrong? Or, most importantly, do I miss hearing from him? This moment of curiosity is the reversal effect in action. The energy, which was once flowing entirely from you to her, now has a chance to reverse course. You are no longer pulling her along. You have stopped, and the lack of momentum may cause her to turn around and see what happened. It gives her the opportunity to miss your presence. This is not about inducing anxiety or playing hard to get in a manipulative sense. It is about allowing a natural human process to occur. The process of valuing something more once it is not immediately available. It's the same principle that makes us appreciate a friend more when we haven't seen them in a while, or crave a food we haven't had in years. Scarcity creates value. Your constant attention was abundant and therefore taken for granted. Your respectful silence is scarce, therefore noteworthy. This entire process serves as the most honest litmus test for her interest. If she values you in your conversations, your absence will be felt. It will create an urge within her to reach out and reestablish that connection. It demonstrates that she is capable of meeting you halfway, which is the absolute baseline requirement for any healthy mutual relationship. However, if she doesn't notice or doesn't care enough to break her own pattern of non-communication, then you have received an answer far more valuable than any forced text reply could ever be. You learn that you are the only one invested, and that the connection you were trying to build was an illusion you were sustaining single-handedly. This knowledge, while painful, is a gift. It frees you from the cycle of hope and disappointment and allows you to redirect your energy toward people and pursuits that are worthy of it. The reversal effect isn't about winning her back. It's about winning back your own time, energy, and self-respect by allowing the truth of the situation to reveal itself. The agony of waiting, the constant checking of the phone, the cycling between hope and despair, all of this consumes a massive amount of mental and emotional energy. It's a drain on your focus, your mood, and your overall well-being. The crucial shift, then, is not just to stop the outward action of texting, but to actively redirect that inward energy away from her and toward the most important project you will ever undertake yourself. This is where true transformation begins. It's about converting the anxious, wasted energy of chasing into the productive, empowering energy of building. Ask yourself a simple but profound question. What have I been putting off because I was too distracted by this situationship? That project, that goal, that hobby, that aspect of your health, that is now your new focus. This isn't about a superficial makeover intended to make her notice you. That is just another form of chasing, albeit a more subtle one. This is a genuine, deep investment in your own growth for your own sake. It's about reclaiming the hours spent staring at a screen and pouring them into something tangible that improves your life, regardless of who is or isn't watching. The goal is to become so engaged in your own journey that her silence becomes a background detail. It's not the central drama of your day. The stories of this transformation are powerful because they are universal. Consider the man who, after a painful rejection, finally channeled his frustration into the weights at the gym. At first, it was just an outlet for his anger and sadness. But each rep, each drop of sweat, was a small act of reclaiming his agency. The physical changes followed, but more importantly, so did the mental ones. The discipline required to show up day after day built a new kind of confidence, one that was earned, not given. He started reading again. He reconnected with old friends he'd neglected. He poured himself into his work. His world, which had once orbited a single person, began to expand. He built a life that was full and compelling on its own terms. By the time the person who had ignored him finally reached out, something fundamental had shifted. His value was no longer tied to her validation. He had created a life he enjoyed, and her interest was merely a footnote, not the headline. He wasn't playing hard to get. He genuinely was hard to get because he was busy, fulfilled, and thriving. This is the ultimate paradox of attraction. By stopping the pursuit of others and starting the pursuit of your own potential, you naturally become more attractive. Confidence, purpose, and passion are magnetic qualities. They are silent signals of a well-lived life. when you are actively growing, learning a new language, mastering a craft, training for a physical goal, building a business, you carry yourself differently. You have interesting things to talk about. You radiate a sense of purpose that is far more compelling than any perfectly crafted text message could ever be. This magnetism isn't just about attracting her. It's about attracting better opportunities, a stronger social circle, and a deeper sense of self-worth. You stop seeking light from others and instead become a source of your own. The energy you once begged others to reciprocate, you now generate for yourself. This self-sustaining cycle is the true magic. It ensures that your sense of value becomes internal and unshakable, no longer dependent on the fleeting attention of someone who may not deserve you in the first place. When you are in the thick of chasing someone, your perception is clouded by a potent cocktail of hope, fantasy, and anxiety. You view the situation through a filter of what you wish it could be, rather than seeing the stark reality of what it actually is. Every delayed text is rationalized. Every vague response is overanalyzed for hidden meaning, and every crumb of attention is magnified into a feast. This self-deception is a defense mechanism, a way to protect the fragile hope of a potential future. However, when you finally step back and cease all pursuit, you do something revolutionary. You allow the emotional dust to settle. And as it does, an incredible thing happens. You gain clarity. It's like the moment a turbulent, muddy pool of water becomes still and transparent, finally allowing you to see exactly what has been lying at the bottom all along. This newfound clarity operates on two crucial levels. The first is an objective reassessment of her and the situation. Freed from the desperate need to see positive signs, you can finally review her actions, or lack thereof, with cold, hard objectivity. You see the pattern of you always initiating. You recognize the half-hearted low effort replies for what they were, not what you imagined them to be. You understand that her silence wasn't a complex puzzle to be solved, but a simple, clear message of disinterest that you refuse to accept. The excuses you made for her evaporate, replaced by the undeniable truth of her behavior. This isn't about assigning blame or becoming bitter. It's about finally accepting reality on its own terms, which is the first and most essential step toward liberation. You stop clinging to potential and start dealing with evidence. The second, far more important, level of clarity is the one you gain about yourself. When you are no longer hyper-focused on another person's whims, you turn a massive lens inward. You begin to ask fundamental questions that were previously drowned out by the noise of chasing. What do I truly want and need in a partner? What are my core values? What behavior will I absolutely not tolerate? What does a healthy, reciprocal relationship actually look like to me? This process helps you define your non-negotiables, your deal breakers. You realize that waiting days for a text message isn't a sign of patience. It's a violation of your need for consistent communication and enthusiastic partnership. You see that settling for breadcrumbs wasn't humility. It was a betrayal of your own worth. This self-knowledge is the most powerful armor you can possess. It fundamentally changes your standards and your boundaries. You are no longer willing to settle for less than you deserve because you have taken the time to consciously and define what you do deserve. A person who is vague, inconsistent, or emotionally unavailable ceases to be a tempting challenge and instead becomes instantly recognizable as simply incompatible with the life you are building for yourself. This clarity protects you from future heartache and wasted time. It allows you to quickly identify and walk away from situations that don't serve you. Not with drama, but with a quiet, unshakable certainty. The fog of hope dissipates, and you are left standing on solid ground. Seeing yourself and your worth with perfect, unforgiving clarity. This self-respect becomes your new compass, and it will never again lead you astray. The entire journey, the silence, the reversal, the investment, the clarity culminates in this single, transformative moment, the full and final reclamation of your power. This is the ultimate goal, and it is far greater than any single relationship. It is about recognizing that your sense of worth, validation, and happiness must be internally generated. not externally sourced. Every time you consciously choose to walk away from a dynamic that diminishes you, you cast a vote for your own value. You tell yourself and the world that your time, attention, and emotional energy are precious commodities, not to be spent on those who see them as infinite and free. This is the foundation of genuine self-respect, and it is the most attractive quality you can possibly cultivate. This claimed power fundamentally changes how you navigate the world, including what happens if she does eventually reach out. Her text, when it comes, must be met not with eager relief, but with calm, grounded discernment. Your first thought should not be, "She finally replied," but rather, "I wonder what this is about." It is crucial to understand that her reaching out is often not the victory lap it might feel like. It is frequently driven by curiosity, ego, boredom, or a sudden feeling of lack created by your absence, not by a genuine, sudden realization of your worth. Your job is to stay centered in the power you've built. Do not revert to old patterns of over-investing, over-texting, or immediately making her the priority again. Match her energy. If her message is a casual "hey," a casual reply is all it merits. Let her lead the effort for a change. Observe her actions closely. Is she making a consistent effort? Is she engaging substantively? Or is this just another breadcrumb to see if you're still on the hook? This is where your hard-won clarity becomes your guide. You are no longer a hungry participant hoping to be fed. You are a discerning judge assessing if what is being offered meets your new standards. If her efforts are lukewarm, sporadic, or vague, you have the strength to recognize it for what it is and politely disengage. You can walk away not with anger, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they deserve a feast, not scraps. This ability to calmly walk away from what doesn't serve you is the ultimate display of power. The right person, the one who truly deserves a place in the life you've built, will not make you play this game. They will not force you to decipher codes or endure silences. They will be clear, consistent, and enthusiastic. They will meet you halfway, because the prospect of not having you in their life will feel like a loss to them too. By stepping back and focusing on yourself, you accomplish two profound things. You heal the parts of you that were willing to accept less, and you magnetically align yourself with people who operate at your new frequency. You stop chasing and start choosing. You become the author of your own story, setting the rules based on your self-worth. And in doing so, you create the only environment where real, healthy love can actually grow.